All right, let's talk about generative AI. And I don't mean the sci-fi stuff. We're going to get real about what this means for you, whether you're leading a team, creating something new, or you're just curious. Honestly, this is one of the biggest shifts we're ever going to see. So let's dive right in and see what's really going on. So when I say generative AI, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most people, it's a chatbot, right? You type in a question, you get an answer. And look, you're not wrong. But that's like seeing one single robot on an assembly line and missing the bigger picture. Because what you've actually been handed are the keys to the entire factory. And that right there is the mental shift we all need to make. This thing isn't just a tool for chatting. It's a full-blown production engine that can create, analyze, and totally transform information on a scale we've just never seen before. Yep, that chat window, that's just the front door. The real magic is what's happening on the factory floor. Think about it. This isn't some niche tech for one industry. It's a total game changer across the board. In manufacturing, it's watching camera feeds to stop accidents before they happen. In law, it's reading a 100-page contract in, like, 5 seconds. It touches everything. Okay, so what's the secret sauce here? What makes this AI so different from everything we've had for the last, 20 years? Well, it all comes down to the engine that's running the whole factory. All right, so in the old days, like a few years ago, AI models were specialists. You'd train one to do one thing and one thing only, like forecasting stock prices. It was a ton of work for a single-purpose tool. The revolution, the big change, is something called a foundation model. Instead of being a specialist, it's a generalist. It's been trained on, well, a huge chunk of the internet, so it can pivot and learn thousands of different tasks without you having to start from scratch every single time. It's a huge deal.
And here's why that matters so much. It's about context. A foundation model knows that an apple is a fruit, not a phone company. It gets the difference. So when you talk to it, it doesn't just see words, it understands meaning. And that deep, contextual understanding is what makes it so unbelievably powerful.
Okay, so you've got this incredible new factory at your fingertips. Now what? As a leader, you basically have one big strategic choice to make right at the start. Are you going to use this thing to augment your people, or are you going to use it to automate tasks? Let's break that down. First up, augmentation. This isn't about replacing people, not at all. It's about giving them superpowers. Think of it like a partnership. A great example, a software developer. They can spend hours writing boring, standard code, or they can ask the AI to generate it in 2 seconds. The developer is still the boss, they check the code, they use their expertise, but man, their productivity just goes through the roof. And check this out, you can even augment your customers. There's this car company, right? They had the classic problem. Some weird light comes on the dashboard and the driver panics. So what'd they do? They built an AI assistant. Now the driver just points their phone camera at the dashboard, the AI sees the light, figures out what it is, and gives them step-by-step instructions on what to do. The customer feels like a genius, and the company's support calls just disappear. Okay, so that's augmentation. Now let's flip the coin and talk about automation. This is where you look at all the boring, repetitive, soul-crushing tasks and just hand them over to the factory. This frees up your brilliant human team to do what people are best at, thinking big, being creative, solving tough problems. Imagine you're an online store with thousands of products. Writing descriptions for all of them, a human team would take months. The AI, it can do it in an afternoon. And the impact here can be absolutely massive. Look at Symbol Aerospace. They design complex stuff, so they have this huge library of 3D models. Getting info from them was a slow, painful, manual job. But by automating that analysis, they sped up their entire product development by 15%. 15%. That's not a small number. And sometimes the numbers are just wow. Take Warner Brothers. They have to caption all their video content, which is super important but also super time-consuming. They brought in Gen AI to automate it. The result? They cut the time it takes to get it done by 80% and saved 50% on costs. That, right there, is what smart automation looks like. So whether you choose to augment or automate, there's one key skill you need to run the factory. How do you tell it what to do? The answer is language. Simple, human language. Learning how to give the right instructions is a skill we call prompting. And believe me, it is the
new essential skill for working with AI.
And don't let the word prompting scare you. It's not some kind of secret code. It really just comes down to three simple things. You just have to tell the AI who to be, show it what a great answer looks like, and tell it how you want the information back. I love this little trick. When you're assigning a persona, just think of it as putting a hat on the AI. So don't just say, write an ad. Say, you are a witty, clever marketing expert writing an ad for a new brand of coffee. Boom. Instantly, the AI puts on that hat, adopts that persona, and the results are just 10 times better. All right, next up, show, don't just tell. This is a technique called few-shot prompting. All it means is you give the AI a couple of good examples. Let's say you're setting up a customer service bot. You could give it an example of an angry customer email, and then show it the perfect, empathetic reply. The AI sees that, learns your company's tone of voice, and then it can replicate that style perfectly every single time. Okay, we've talked tech, we've talked strategy, we've talked skills. Let's take a step back now and look at the big picture. If you're leading a team, what's the mindset you need to actually win in this new AI world? There's a quote that's been going around that I think just nails it. You won't lose your job to AI, you'll lose your job to someone who uses AI. And that says it all, doesn't it? The real risk isn't the tech itself, it's ignoring it. The people who figure out how to use these tools are the ones who are going to get ahead. This isn't optional anymore, it's a critical skill. So, what can you do? How do you stay ahead of the curve? Well, as a leader, you've got to build a culture where it's okay to be curious, to play around with this stuff. Get your teams to just try it out, to practice prompting, and focus on finding the real-world problems you can solve that will actually make a difference. But maybe most important of all, lead with empathy. This is a big change for everyone, and you've got to manage the human side of it really carefully. Because at the end of the day, this whole thing, it's not really a technology story. It's a human story. It's changing how we work, how we create, how we think. The biggest challenge, and honestly, the biggest opportunity, is how we adapt, how we change our skills and our companies to make the most of this incredible new tool. Think of generative AI like this. It's a multiplier for your own creativity, your own intelligence. The factory is officially open for business. The machines are all warmed up and ready to go, so the only question left is, what are you going to build?